Colby and Kahui here from KCMG Real Estate Advisors. Today we are here with Peter Hughes from Guard Insurance.
Hi, Pete.
Hi,
Hey,
Pete.
how you guys doing?
Good.
Good to be here.
Excellent. So you own and operate a company called Guard Insurance, correct?
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about what Guard Insurance does.
Yeah, so Guard Insurance is a personal lines insurance independent agency.
Okay.
Basically, we act as a broker for people, and with a quick 5-minute application, we're going to make some of the biggest and most competitive carriers in this area, like AAA, Progressive, Nationwide. We're going to make them compete for a client's business.
Gotcha.
So that we can find the best rate for them.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain the difference between going to, let's say, an insurance provider directly versus going to someone like you?
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit further, you started to get into it. But
Yeah. I'll use State Farm as an example. If you go to State Farm, they're going to punch your information in. They're going to give you State Farm.
Yeah.
With us, we're looking literally at 15 plus different companies. We're narrowing down the top ones. We're taking out the bad ones.
You're doing the shopping for them.
Yeah.
And saving them a lot of time in doing it.
Yep.
Tell us the difference between a broker and a direct provider.
Yeah. So a broker, you kind of get a trusted advisor with that experience, someone that can look at all these different options, process them, digest them in a way that you guys can relate to them and understand the coverages. Where if you go directly to a carrier, it's kind of clicking a few buttons and getting something that may be relevant to you and it might not be. But I think trusted advisor is such an important thing when you're dealing with something so important, and that's what the layer that we add on top of that.
So the one thing I'm hearing you say is that you actually are a person, or there is a person on your team that is looking at the coverages and looking at what that client really needs to make sure that they're getting the proper terms, the proper coverage, rather than just them punching a few things online and a computer-generated quote comes out.
Oh, absolutely. We have a awesome local team that's in office, that's licensed, that's doing this all day, every day, just looking at people's policies, kind of identifying the gaps in them and recommending things that is really going to up their insurance coverage, but still saving them money along the way.
So the thing that I hear the most, first of all, my parents use you. We use you not only for our cars, our house, our business, our umbrella.
Yeah.
We refer you to everybody that we know, and part of the reason we're partners in business is because we trust you, and our clients love the service. So whether you're buying a brand new house or even if you're thinking about getting a quote just to shop around, this is a great service. One of the things that I love is the Clue Report that you guys run. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, we love the Clue Report too. We talk about it so much. So the Clue Report, first I want to use the example of buying a used car. You never buy a used car without getting the Carfax. So there's actually this information is available on houses too. It's called a Clue Report, and it comes from a central data reporting agency, and it can tell you things like water claims, mold claims, and these are things that go behind the walls that maybe the inspector can't even get to. And this is something that we systematized and put it in our process that every home buyer gets this information because it is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that can happen before we close.
Yeah.
Or if you've already, closed or you're just shopping for insurance, we can still run that report for you.
Oh, yeah. It helps in a lot of different ways. But just knowing what the house has been through also helps you select the coverages that you want more intelligently so that you can say, you know what, there was a water loss a couple of years ago. I'm sure it's fixed, but let me up my water coverage a little bit just so I'm prepared if that happens again.
Sewer line coverage.
Yes, sewer line coverage.
That was another one of those benefits that we've added to our policy as well, just to cover the sewer line in the event that anything goes wrong with that.
For the minimal cost.
For the minimal.
It's such a low cost.
It's like a no-brainer.
I think it's $40 a year to get sewer line coverage, which you don't know what condition your sewer line is in. So it's really, really good to have a coverage like this on the policy.
Can you talk a little bit about the process? So if somebody wants to get in touch with you and start the process, what does that look like? Yeah,
there's a couple different ways to get started with us. I always enjoy talking to people, so a phone call is the easiest way. Just call me up. We can have a quick consult, get started, get the application through. If you're the online person that likes to kind of do it yourself, we have a great online application. It takes about 5 minutes, and you can even link your current policies to it so that we can really dive do
I didn't know that.
We can do a deep dive, see where you're at, make some recommendations, and then hopefully save some money too.
Sure. I think there's huge value in the audit.
Yeah.
I think everybody really, almost every year, ought to be having their policies reviewed to make sure, because life changes.
Yeah.
You might need different. You might not need as much coverage at some point.
Yeah.
So it's always good to know that. So been reading a lot. It's been an interesting year, 2023 last year with the insurance industry. Reading a lot about significant losses and some insurance companies kind of closing the books on taking on new policies. Can you talk a little bit about what's going on there?
Yeah, for sure. I think the insurance industry kind of went through their black swan event where they couldn't really predict what the last 1 to 2 years was going to look like. Price increases, increased weather events, and they really took a lot of losses in the tune of billions of dollars.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Billions. So a lot of companies have made it much more difficult to get policies with them. They're taking a lot of price increases, record price increases. So really, right now is the best time to take that one time per year to look at your policies and figure out, are you a person that needs to kind of do that audit? Do you need to do a price check? Did the increased home rebuilding costs kind of bump you out of the coverage level that you need to be in? Do you need more home coverage now because of building costs? And the good thing about it is this audit, one time per year, it takes probably a total investment of 20 minutes to really check these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, in my experience, you're very honest and very fair about it too. I literally gave you policies that my mother has,
Yeah.
and you took a look and you came back and said, "Hey, she's getting great rates. She should stay right where she is."
Yeah, yeah.
So that's I appreciate that. It's you're really looking out for the consumer.
Yeah, the trust part of the trusted advisor is so important to us. We think if we can give you really unbiased information that's helpful to the consumer, you'll trust us and maybe come back to us, even if this isn't the year that you want to work with us. So, we look at policies, so much that we'll go back to these people and we'll say, hey, we think you're good where you're at. Maybe we'd up this coverage a little bit, but I think you're priced well right now.
So when it comes to investors,
Yes.
I wanted to talk. I don't even know what the right questions are to ask necessarily.
Yeah.
As much as I want to understand, like people move and then they run out their properties and they don't get the appropriate coverage and they don't make the right changes and
Right.
Sometimes it's triggered by you reaching out to me and saying, hey, want to reshop your rate. Do you reach out to your customers to see if there's a better rate that they can get, and how frequently does that happen?
Yeah. So some of that will fall on the consumer to just take a look at their policy once per year. But our agency, I think we're unique in the sense that we do have internal audits in place where if we see someone's price really go up higher than the average increase for the year, we'll reach out to them and say, hey, we're requoting you. We just want to let you know you had a price increase, but we're remarketing you with all our different companies.
Okay. So I've learned so much over the last 10 years of knowing you, especially about flood zones and elected versus required flood insurance policies.
Yeah.
I remember we live in Downingtown Borough, and we are surrounded by flood zone.
Yeah.
We're not in a flood zone, but we are surrounded by that. So it was really interesting to have a conversation with you about the option to do flood insurance, even though our property A doesn't flood and B isn't required by the mortgage company. And so there's a lot of nuances and things that clients can just learn after just having a basic conversation with you about the requirements and such. So.
Yeah, and flood insurance is one of those things that's ever changing.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Really the only type of insurance where the options can change with the weather that's going on. But we have a conversation with every home buyer now about flood insurance because of some of these new storms like Hurricane Ida. It impacted a lot of people that weren't in high-risk flood zones and didn't opt for flood insurance. So yes, if you're in a high-risk flood zone, you're required by the mortgage company to get flood insurance. You can't get the mortgage without having flood insurance in place. Now, a lot of people aren't in high-risk flood zones, but they might be bordering the high-risk flood zones, and those are the ones that have a decision to make. Should I pay the extra amount for flood insurance? That's right. Surface water, groundwater, that's excluded by all homeowners insurance companies. So that's when you really got to kind of make that decision. Do I want to pay the extra few $100s a year to have flood insurance, even though I'm technically considered in a lower risk flood zone? So these are conversations that we'll have with people. Everyone's risk tolerance is a little bit different, but just having the conversation just to make sure that you're aware and have the options is such an important step of it.
Yeah, and what was the name of that? It wasn't through FEMA. What was the alternative flood insurance?
Yeah, there's
It's,
private markets.
yeah,
Neptune
private
is a
market.
big one. Aon Risk is a big one. There's several private flood insurance companies out
which are
there.
less than maybe if you're outside of the flood zone, maybe
Yeah.
less than going through directly
Yeah,
through FEMA.
exactly. So I mean, really, you got to price them all to kind of see where they fall.
Mhm.
But the private companies have come in and created a market for flood insurance for houses that aren't necessarily in a high risk flood zone, but still may want to consider it. And they're kind of plucking the good risks and they're leaving the hard to write risk, maybe coastal exposures to FEMA.
Mhm.
So you can get better pricing through private flood companies sometimes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I've had the experience in seeing that a lot of people, like when we sell them a house, okay, they may go get a quote for the insurance, but they get that for you. If they come to get that from you, it's really best if they give you information about all the things they need insurance for.
Right.
So,
Stack it.
yeah, their auto, an umbrella liability policy, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of having all the policies through?
Yeah.
Or any other discounts that you guys offer, maybe that sets
Yeah.
you apart from your
Yeah,
competitors.
let's talk discounts.
Okay.
So you referenced the bundle discount.
Mhm.
You know, State Farm's done a good job at explaining what this
Right,
is.
right.
But yeah, insurance companies love the bundle. The more accounts that you have,
Mhm.
they stack discounts on top of it. It could be to the tune of 20 to 30%
Oh, wow.
for bundle discounts. So that's always a good place to start. You know, check whatever current policies you have, get a quote from there, and see how the rates are. Other discounts, AAA. If you're a AAA member, multiple carriers offer AAA member discounts, so that's a good one. Insurance companies love alarm systems too. So if you have alarm systems that connect to a central station where if there is a claim, it would alert kind of the police station or the fire department, they like that. Automatic water shutoff valves. So if there's a water detection system, they can shut the water off to limit how much the claim would be if there is a water leak. Really, the best discount is identifying the carrier that's going to underwrite you the best.
Okay.
That's always going to be the best way to find the best savings. And that's what we do. We make these 15 companies compete for the policy. And usually there's one, I'd say, Cinderella company out there where they're way better than the rest. And that's what we're looking to identify. And then we'll add those discounts on top of that. And if we do that strategy, usually we can find a really good premium for somebody.
Okay.
Great.
Are there any discounts for using a Keller Williams agent?
Yeah, that's very good. Good question. So one of our carriers actually said, hey, we know the relationship that you have with Keller Williams. Every person that buys a house with Keller Williams, we're going to get a discount too.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So
I thought I heard something.
work with Keller Williams.
There you go.
Yeah.
So outside of coming into the office every day, what do you and your family like to do for fun?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'd say what we like to do for fun, we like to pack up into
Well, first of all, you live where?
I live in Westchester
Yeah,
Borough.
you're like
so
local.
Chester County.
Yeah,
I would
that's
never
right.
move out of Chester County. I love it. But we like to pack into my Jeep, especially on a nice day, and really just cruise around. There's so many good spots to hit up around here. We love Northbrook Marketplace,
Yeah.
Highland Orchards, and just on a nice day, kind of popping in these different spots and getting some of the apple cider donuts and some fruit. Yeah,
That's right. How many kids do you have?
I have 2 little
You have
girls.
2 little girls.
Yeah,
Okay.
2 little princesses.
Yeah. So outside of the family gig, what are some of your hobbies?
Basketball.
Oh, okay. I did not
basketball.
know that about you.
Yeah, I love to play basketball. I play a ton of pickup basketball. I love the Sixers. Love Joel Embiid. Just I'm very tuned in, so that's probably my number one thing to do. Yeah.
All right, cool. So we're coming up on March Madness. Is that a thing?
Oh yeah, that's like a holiday for us.
Oh, okay.
We'll get all the TVs set up and really make an event out of it.
I'm the annoying one who asks all a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah.
Why is that guy doing that?
Well, your bracket's probably usually the best one. Then, right?
That's all I'll win.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, Pete, we really appreciate you spending time with us today. We're big fans. We're clients, customers of yours. Appreciate everything that you do for us.
Absolutely.
The service has been fantastic. So
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate everything
We
you guys
really
do.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks, Pete.
great stuff.